الو. سامستر مش سامعك. الو. مش سامع. ثانية هطلع من الزوم وادخل تاني.
Testing the mic. Testing the mic. The sound is very low. Automatically adjust that low. Testing the mic. Sound is very low. Speak very low. Testing the mic. The sound is very low. Very low. Hello. Okay, now I'm testing the sound. I think it should
مش
be
سامع
good.
دلوقتي.
Right. Let's just revise what we took yesterday. بسرعة احنا امبارح اتكلمنا عن the rate of. Let me share the screen. So we talked about the rate of the reaction, how fast the reaction is. You can see the screen.
اه
By the way, we are recording just for some of the basic questions عشان في أسئلة هنا مهمة أوي عايزين نعملها record. Okay. So some reactions قلنا عليها very fast like the fireworks. بعد قلنا حاجات زي rusting very slow. حاجات زي الكوكينج أو الكيميكال reactions the lab they are medium. قلنا إن الكيميكال kinetics معناها إيه؟ The study of the reaction rates. واتكلمنا عن الريليشن شيب ما بين البرودكتس. قلنا ان احنا البرودكتس عندي في الرياكشن بتكون decreasing بينما الرياكتنس بتكون decreasing والبرودكتس increasing. وعلى هذا الاساس حلينا سؤال زي ده ريت اوف رياكشن كربون مونوكسيد زي نيتروجين دايوكسيد. اديني كربون دايوكسيد او نيتروجين مونوكسيد. هل الكوانتيتي اوف NO2 consumed per unit time؟ لا. NO2 دوت رياكتنت فما اقدرش اقول consume. ريت اوف كونسبشن اوف كربون دايوكسيد. الاولانيه صح صحيح NO2 رياكتنت. ثانيه غلط. ثالثه صح. رابعه صح. السؤال اللي احنا عملناه امبارح نوت ريبيت ذات اجين. اتكلمنا عن الكوليجن ثيوري. قلنا كل حاجه لازم تكون ريليتد للكوليجن ثيوري. وقلنا علشان الرياكشن يحصل لازم يحصل كوليجن ولازم يكون برايت اماونت اوف انرجي ويكون في كوريكت بليس. الرايت اماونت اوف انرجي وكوريكت بليس ده اللي بنسميه سكسسفول كوليجن. يعني انا ممكن اخبط فيك 10 مرات مره واحده فيهم بس تكون سكسسفول. بس when you increase the frequency there is a probability that you will increase the successful collisions also. لو انت خبطتني 100 مره اكيد في 10 منهم هيطلعوا صح. لكن خبطتني مره او اثنين the probability will be less ان يحصل collision successful. في مشكله في الصوت؟ اوكي. طيب قلنا الفاكتورز اللي بتاثر على rate of reaction what are they؟ وقلنا how can we explain every one of them why they affect the rate of the reaction depending on what؟ depending on the collision theory. ما عدا واحده بس قلنا عليها في واحده منهم عليها حاجات زي قلنا لازم نتكلم على الكاينيتيك انرجي. التشينج على الكونسنتريشن increasing the concentration number of particles يبقى will increase collision more frequently per unit time thus rate of reaction increases. نفس الكلام على changing البريشر. نفس الكلام على changing السيرفيس اريا. وده فيه سمري للاربع حاجات او للثلاث حاجات دول اللي هم الكونسنتريشن والتمبريتشر والسيرفيس اريا. كل واحده ايه الافكت بتاعها والاكسبلانيشن. more particles per unit volume يبقى frequency increases. more particles have energy than the activation energy زائد ان الفريكونسي increases الاثنين التمبريتشر. increasing the surface area more particles are in contact with reactant يبقى الفريكونسي بتزيد برضه. يعني اختصارا عشان ما نصعبهاش اقول الفريكونسي فيهم كلهم واقول في التمبريتشر انكريز للتمبريتشر بحيث ان الانرجي يكون زياده شويه اكتر من الاكتيفيشن انرجي. هنشوف موضوع الاكتيفيشن انرجي ده بعدين. اوكي. طيب this should be okay بالنسبه لكل اللي احنا اخذناه امبارح وحلينا عليه شويه اسئله. we answered all of them. باقي حاجه واحده بس اللي هي المهمه نعملها النهارده اللي هي الجرافس ودي يمكن اهم جزء. الجرافس how can I present the rate of the reaction by graphs. انت اساسا how can you represent the rate of reaction؟ انت قلت في ليه علاقه بالreactance and it has a relationship with the products، صح؟ قلت الreactance والproducts الاثنين، مش كده؟ قلت what happens to the reactants؟ they will decrease and what happens to the products؟ they will
increase.
decrease. يعني لو عندي reaction زي دوت ال Mg reacts with HCl to form MgCl2 and H2. بعد شوية ال Mg will decrease وال HCl will decrease وال MgCl2 will increase وال H2 will increase. خلينا نعمل جراف ونحاول نبين الكلام ده على الجراف. يعني ايه يا مستر؟ يعني حاول X axis and Y axis. The x-axis is representing the time and the y-axis is representing the volume produced of the H2 gas. As you are moving in time, the volume of H2 will start to increase. يعني at the time zero there was no hydrogen gas produced. تعمل الكلام ده ازاي يا مستر؟ في حاجة اسمها reaction بيحصل هنا اهوت في الفلاسك، وفي حاجة اسمها have you seen this one for measuring gases before? What is it called? Gas syringe, right? It's called gas syringe. This will measure the volume of the gas produced. هتلاقي مكتوب هنا 10, 20, 30, 40, and so on. So after 0 times there was no gas produced. مفيش حاجة طلعت عندي لسه هنا. بعد 1 minute I will find there is for example 10 decimeter cube produced. I'll put a point هنا. After 2 minutes for example أنا بجيب أرقام من عندي بقى اللي طلع عندي 20 decimeter cube. يبقى هنا بعد 3 minutes 30. بعد 4 minutes. These numbers I'm making up, okay?
Okay.
بعد 55 minutes هلاحظ حاجة إن ال amount of gas formed does not increase. تبتدي تبقى بعد كده stable 5, 6, 7, 8 it's increased. So if I make a graph for this وعملت curve كده I will see that the curve at the beginning starts to rise وبعدين it flattens here. ليه يا مستر؟ ايه اللي حصل خلى الكيرف flatten؟
الفوليوم بقى constant.
الفوليوم بقى constant. ليه constant؟ there is no more H2 produced. why يا مستر؟ عشان الرياكتنت will be used up. ما عادش عندي Mg تاني يعمل لي H2. اجيب منين؟ لازم ال Mg يرياكت مع ال H. ما عادش عندي H تاني، خلصت used up. so there will be no more H2. يبقى هيثبت عند الرقم اللي واقف عندي. it stopped at 40. يبقى اقصى حاجه انا طلعتها كام هنا؟ هلاقيها 40 مثلا في الجاز سيرنج. وقف لغايه هنا اهو. يبقى زق السيرنج لغايه وبيبقى فيه ستوبر كده من جوه الجاز بيزقه. هبص على الريدنج الاقيها وقفت عند 40 ومش بتزيد. ليه؟ خلاص ما عادش فيه جاز. الرياكشن ستوبد. سو رياكشن ايه؟ ستوبد. واي يا مستر؟ ذا رياكتنس يوزد اب. كويس. بس في الاول كان بيحصل فيه زياده. انت قلت لي يا مستر في السيشن بتاعت المره اللي فاتت ان in order to know if something is fast or slow I have to do what؟ I have to compare it. قلنا لو النبات بتاعي بينمو، انا عندي نبات وبزرعه في البيت if it's growing. How to know if it's growing fast or slow؟ I have to compare it to another one. صح؟ اروح اعمل عند حد بيزرع نبات تاني اقول له how much was the land؟ يقول لي انا طلع لي 10 سنتيمتر كيوب في 1 week. اقول له لا ده انا طلع لي 50 سنتيمتر كيوب. So you cannot know if this reaction is fast or slow unless you compare it with another experiment. So this is experiment 1 for example. We'll say this is experiment 1. طب let's compare it against experiment 2. At 1 minute it was produced 10. But at 2 minutes هبص الاقي بدل ال 20 هلاقي 30. So I'll put the first one here and second one here. Did you notice what? The amount produced of the gas H2 at 2 minutes is more than the first experiment. هنا هسميها 1 وهنا هسميها 2. So the amount produced in experiment 2 is more. طب عندي ال 3 يا مستر هلاقيها 30 وعندي ال 4 هلاقيها 40 وبيقف عند نفس المكان. اوكي؟ طيب how can from the curve I know that the reaction is faster؟ انت عرفت منين ان هو faster يا مستر؟ بعد 2 minutes instead of producing 20 لا ده طلع لي 30 يبقى the amount produced of the product is more يبقى ده اكيد الرياكشن ده فاستر. زي واحد بيقطع سلطه، واحد بيعمل سلطه ومعاه الطماطم والخيار، دايما الاكزامبل بتاعنا الراجل بعد 5 دقائق كان مخلص 1 كيلو جرام من التوميتو و1 كيلو جرام من الكيوكمبر، مخلصهم ومحولهم ليه يا مستر؟ لسلطه. واحد تاني بعد 5 minutes كان مخلص هاف كيلو بس من ده وهاف كيلو من ده. يبقى مين فيهم الاسرع؟
ال 1 كيلو أول واحد.
لان البرودكت in a certain time is more. هنا نفس الكلام. البرودكت in experiment 2 the blue one in 2 minutes was more. بدل بس 20 لا ده كان عنده كام؟ 30 decimeter
30.
cube. So since the product is more in a fixed time that's why يبقى البرودكت هنا انت قلت في certain time is more يبقى ده faster reaction. طب الكلام ده شوفه ازاي بعيني. هتلاقي الكيرف بتاعك is steeper curve. لما واحد يكون طالع الجبل بنقول على الجبل ده is very steep. What does it mean very steep؟ يعني is it horizontal ولا vertical؟ It's very vertical. طب لما يكون عندي الجبل steeper معنى ذلك ان هو more vertical، قرب يبقى 90 degree خلاص. طب واللي بالريد ده more vertical فبقول عليه ايه؟ ده الستيب كيرف. نفس الكلام عندي هنا the steepest curve is the highest rate of reaction. زي ما شفنا البلو اسرع ولا البلاك؟ experiment 2 ولا experiment 1؟
Experiment 2.
How can you see that from the curve?
عشان steeper.
The steeper curve will be faster. So let's draw it by blue. And the less steep will be slower or faster?
Faster.
The less steep
less يبقى slower.
بقى slower curve. So I can then just from the shape of the curve know if it is fast or slow.
Slower.
جميل. That's all I need. That's all I need in that part. Mister, but I noticed something. What did you notice? The product in experiment 1 and experiment 2 الاثنين خلصوا في نفس المكان، الاثنين خلصوا عند ال 40 ديسيمتر كيوب زي ما حصل هنا برضو. الراجل ده بعد 5 دقائق كان خلص نص كيلو، بعد 5 دقائق تانيين يعني بعد التوتال 10 دقائق كان خلص قد ايه برضو؟ نص كيلو كمان، يبقى التوتال كمان 1 يبقى خلص زي ما الاولاني كان عمل. So at the end how much finished for them 1 kilogram for both. امال ايه الفرق في 1 عن 2؟ لا 1 كان faster. ايوه برافو، كان ده faster وده slower. لكن at the end what is the product in both of them? It is what?
Same.
هما الاثنين وقفوا عند نفس المكان. علشان انا ممكن الاقي في الاسئله بتاعتي سؤال الكيرف is at a higher place or at a lower place. So it can be a steeper and at the same place, and it can be a steeper and what? At a higher place. What does it mean? It's not only faster, the product is more. طب والبرودكت دي تيجي اكتر امتى؟ ايه الحاجه الوحيده اللي هتخلي واحد فيهم طلع لي كميه سلد اكتر من الثاني؟ In only one case. If you gave him more reactant. يبقى مفيش حل ان واحد يطلع كميه سلطه اكتر غير لما انت تكون اساسا كنت مديله more
reactants.
غير كده هم في الاخر
بس لو في الجراف على طول بتكون نفس الحاجة في الآخر، نفس البرودكت، ولا ممكن تكون أعلى؟
No, it can be higher and it can be lower depending on the reactant. يبقى depending on the reactant it can be
higher or lower.
اوكي. والمهم جدا بقى اللي احنا جايين عشانه النهارده، النقطه اللي احنا جايين عشانها النهارده، ان مش اي رياكتنت من الاثنين. يعني يا مستر انا عندي 2 رياكتنتس مثلا reactive. I have one which is limiting reagent and I have one which is excess. بيعتمد على مين دايما؟ الليميتنج. I don't care about the excess. لازم ابص على مين؟ الليميتنج، اذا كان ازيد ولا اقل. So if the limiting here is more، انت عندك Mg و HCl، واحد فيهم limiting وواحد فيهم excess. يعني ايه limiting و excess؟
ازاي بتعرف أي واحد هو limiting وأي واحد الأكسس؟
بالارقام بتبص على النمبر اوف مولز بتاعتهم and compare it against the number of moles اللي في الرياكشن. هنا عشان دي تبقى مظبوطه لازم تعمل لها بالانس، تبقى 2HCl. الريشيو كام في الستايكيومتري؟ how much is the ratio in stoichiometry؟ 1 to 2. الريشيو دي بتاعت مين؟ المساله ولا بتاعت البالانس الايكويشن؟
بالانس.
البالانس. لو المساله بتاعتك اللي هو مديها لك الريشيو بتاعتها بتاعت المولز از ذا سيم 1 to 2 يبقى مفيش ليميتنج واكسس، يبقى هم ماشيين زي الكتاب. دايما بنشبهها بواحد بيعمل كيكه وماشي مع كتاب كده، ففتح الكتاب بيقول انا عشان اعمل الكيكه I have to put 1 kilo of flour and half kilo of sugar and 2 eggs. لو هو مشي على الكتاب بالظبط يبقى هو ماشي على نفس النمبر اوف مولز، مفيش اكسس ومفيش ليميتنج،
limiting.
يبقى مشي زي ما قالوا له بالظبط. طب لو في حاجه من اللي هو حطها اكتر من المطلوب، قالوا له 1 كيلو جرام فلور وقالوا له 1 هاف كيلو جرام او هاف كيلو جرام من الشوجر وقالوا له 2 ايجز، هو بقى ما سمعش الكلام وراح حاطط 2 كيلو جرام من الفلور، يبقى الريشيو مش 1 لهاف، ده الريشيو 2 تو هاف. يبقى حط من ده هاف شوجر، يبقى دي الايه؟ دي البالانس بتاعتي اللي الناس كلها المفروض تمشي عليه، دي البوك بتاعي. لكن دي المساله بتاعتي انا غير واحد تاني بيحل مساله على حاجه تانيه. الارقام دي ممكن تتغير، الارقام اللي فوق ممكن تتغير it cannot change، لكن النمبرز اللي تحت هي اللي كانت ممكن ايه تتغير. يبقى الريشيو بتاعته بدل ما تبقى 1 الى هاف، لا الريشيو ايه؟ تعال نجيب ارقام سهله شويه، بلاش 1 وهاف، خليها 2 كيلو جرام و1 كيلو جرام. وهو حط بدل ما يحط 2 1 حط 3 و1. الريشيو كانت كام؟
2 to
2
1.
1. هو حط ايه؟
3 to 1.
3 to 1. يبقى الريشيو بتاعته اكتر من المطلوب. اكتر في مين؟ في
في
الفلور ولا
الفلاور.
في الفلاور بس؟ اكتر في الفلاور بس.
يبقى ده
يعني الراجل
الاكسس.
ده هنا كان بيعمل 1 كيك، لا ده هيعمل ايه؟ هيعمل 1 كيك وبعد ما يخلص الكيك يبص جنبه كده يقول لهم ايه؟ بايننا اشترينا 1 كيلو ايه؟ فلاور
زيادة.
زياده، اتبقى معاه وملوش لازمه، اكسس. طب لو الراجل ده عمل العكس، بدل ما يحط 1 كيلو جرام من الفلاور و1 كيلو جرام من الشوجر، لا حط مساله ثانيه خالص، حط ايه؟ حط 2 من هنا و2 من هنا. الاثنين دي ماشيه مع الاثنين دي مظبوطه، لكن مين الاكسس المره دي؟ الشوجر
الشجر.
المره دي. يبقى الراجل ده هيعمل 1 كيك زائد ايه؟ 1 كيلو جرام اوف
شجر.
شوجر.
مستر، لو الاتنين كانوا اكسس.
اديني ارقام بقى، انا قلت لك ارقام، اديني
اوكي،
ارقام.
لو هي البالانس بوك يبقى 2 to 1، لو هي كانت 3 ل 2.
3 ل 2 لازم اخليها شبه الريشيو دي. يعني ايه يا مستر؟ يعني الريشيو دي 2 to 1، اعملها 3 ل 2. خلاص؟ بقوم عامل كده اهوت، مخبي واحد بايديا، مخبي واحد بايديا كده اهو واشيله على جنب. خلاص؟ واقول لو انا عندي 3، لو انا عندي 3 المفروض يطلع كام مع الثلاثه؟ هتعمل كروس مالتبلاي. هتعمل ايه؟ كروس مالتبلاي.
multiply.
فيطلع كام مع الثلاثه؟ 3 مالتبلايد 1 بكام؟
3.
divided by 2.
1.5.
اللي انت طلعته ده الايه؟ المفروض. وال2 دي اللي هي ايه؟ اللي اوريدي موجود. يبقى انت عندك 2 بدل 1 اند هاف، يبقى
1.5
عندك من ده اكسس
اكتر.
عن
اه.
المطلوب. لو
اه.
عملتها العكس، لو عملتها العكس هتنفع برضه. اعمل كده، خبي بايديك على مين؟
3.
على 3، وروح قول له what should be this number. اقول له cross multiply. تطلع كام؟ 2 multiplied by 2
4
divided by
divide
1
4. 4.
4. يعني هي 3 وكانت المفروض تطلع
4.
يبقى دي اقل من المطلوب. يبقى نفس الكلام، دي الليميتنج
اه.
ريزلت ودي الاكسس. لو عملت هنا او عملت هنا نفس الريزلت مش هتتغير. يبقى لما يديني رقمين مش نفس الرقمين اللي فوق وعايز اعرف هم ماشيين معلش ولا اخبي واحد واقول هو كان المفروض يطلع كام عشان ده اكتر من المطلوب. more than needed 2 اكتر من 1.5 او 4 less than required. خلاص. يبقى انت يا مستر خد بالك عشان ما تتوهنيش. where did you come from؟ كنا بنقول ان اللي هيبقى limiting في الاخر هو ده المهم. ليه يا مستر؟ لان we agreed before ان limiting is the things that will limit the reagent. هو ليه اسمه limiting reagent؟ ده واحد اسمه excess. ليه ما بيقولش عليه less وخلاص؟ because it limits the reaction from continuing. هو ده اللي بيوقف الرياكشن. انا عندي رياكشن ما بين air وكاندل. عندي هنا air وكاندل، والكاندل هي الليميتنج ريجنت والاير هو الاكسس. اكيد ده الهواء موجود بكتير قوي. عرفت منين يا مستر؟ ده حته شمعه، بعد شويه الشمعه خلصت عشان هي الليميتنج. هل الشمعه بتفضل تتحرق بعد ما تخلص؟ لا يا مستر. بس انا عندي هواء كتير قوي يا مستر. اي دونت كير. ليه يا مستر؟ لان الليميتنج خلص،
اه
وهو ده اللي بيليمت الرياكشن. اتس كولد ليميتنج because it limits the reaction from continuing. بتقولي والله لو كان عندي كاندل ثانيه كنت كملت. طب اجيب لك كاندل. لو عندك كاندل اكبر من كده كان زمان الرياكشن فضلت وقت اكتر. طب لو عملت لك حاجه ثانيه، جبت لك كاندل طويله وبعدين حطيتها لك مقفول عليها هنا بشويه هواء، وهنا الهواء الوقت الاكسجين بقى الايه؟
ليميتنج.
والكاندل بقت اكسس. هيحصل ايه؟ هتفضل الكاندل شغاله لغايه لما الهواء يخلص. اول ما الهواء يخلص هتلاقي ايه؟ الكاندل اتطفت.
لسه. اه
الكاندل اتطفت، ما عادش فيه اكسجين، بس ما خلصتش. بس مش عارفه تكمل في الحرق. ليه مش بتكمل في الحرق؟
عشان مفيش اكسجين.
والاكسجين هو الايه؟
ليميتنج.
بس انا عايز اكمل، انا نفسي اكمل حرق. مهما كان عندك من الاكسس اتس نو يوز. يبقى زياده الاكسس ملهاش لازمه لانه مش هيعمل لي اي فايده. المهم مين؟ الليميتنج. عشان كده دايما انا ببص اقول ذا ليميتنج از ذا امبورتنت ريجنت. هو اللي هيحدد لي اذا كان هيحصل افكت ولا لا. ونرجع نقول احنا كنا جايين منين؟ if you increase the amount of limiting the product will be increased. هيبقى شكله عامل ازاي يا مستر؟ هيبقى شكله عامل كده اهو. ادي الكيرف الاولاني. الثاني مش بس ستيبر، لا ده ستيبر وهاير كيرف. so it is steeper and higher. why it's steeper and higher? because the reaction continued. بدل ما وقف عند 40 ديسيمتر كيوب اداني 60 ديسيمتر كيوب. so it is what? continuing. ومين اللي كان اكسس؟ مين اللي كان كتير عن اكسبيرمنت 1؟
ال 40.
طيب انت قلت لي ان هو كمل عشان في رياكتنت اكتر، صح؟
اه
مين من الرياكتنتس؟ الليميتنج ولا الاكسس؟ الليميتنج. الليميتنج دايما. ليه مش
اه
الاكسس؟
عشان
لان لو كان
اكسس
في
ملوش
كيلو
لازمة.
من الاكسس، ايوه برافو عليك، ملوش زي لازم. هو اكسس حطيت منه 10 كيلو من الهواء والشمعه خلصت، خلاص مفيش فايده. اوكي؟ طيب let's see the questions بقى عشان الكويشنز is the important thing here. احنا خلصنا الاول الكويشنز اللي ديت، صح؟ خد بالك اللي احنا بنتكلم فيه دوت سؤال واحد هنا بس، لكن معظم الاسئله بتاعت الاسبوع اللي جاي. طب let's see question 12. In 3 different experiments equal masses of calcium carbonate.
الكويشن ده بتاع الكويز.
ايوه معلش.
كده افتحه.
Please. So question 12, he has drawn a curve like that and said this is time and this is the volume of carbon dioxide produced. What was the reaction? Calcium carbonate and HCl to form calcium chloride and H2 and التالت بتاعهم CO2. لو حد تاني غير انا فتحت did you open it؟
اه
لو حد تاني anybody else looking at this question he will not focus. But for us, because we just explained, we will read this word and focus on it. Equal masses of excess calcium. So I looked here. It is very important that I quote this word, excess calcium. Then I will continue. He is telling me this is the experiment. So this is my experiment. What is the experiment? This is three different experiments. Actually, there are three. One is A, one is B. I can see B is a little bit higher than C, and C is here, and A is here.
ستيبر بس نفس المكان.
But you think we can make them different colors better? So this is, oops, make them different colors. Right. So that one, and we'll make this one is blue. So this is B, and this is A. Very good. So choose the curve associated with each of the following. So he's measuring the amount of carbon dioxide. So why he is putting that on the y-axis? This is what is determining the reaction is fast or slow, as we explained, right? This is what's determining if the reaction is fast or slow. Because if the reaction is fast, the amount produced in unit time is fast, is a lot. If it is less, the amount produced is less. What is our question? Choose the curve which has lower temperature. Mr. Lower temperature means the rate of reaction is faster or slower?
slower.
And slower rate of reaction means the
C.
curve is steeper or less steep?
less steep.
Which one is the least steep one? The least,
B.
the B. So the red one, B is the least steep one, so it is the lowering temperature. So a lower concentration of hydrochloric acid. He's saying lower concentration of hydrochloric acid.
يبقى limiting.
Let's see first. Lower concentration means
slower rate.
Means lower rate, and slower rate means
steeper. less steeper.
Less steep. So let's write here less steep, and let's write here less steep. So it can be B or it can be
C.
But he said here, this is lower concentration of hydrochloric acid. Mr. We agreed that it is B or C. Now, what is the difference between B and C? The amount of gas that's produced in B is higher amount, and the amount of gas which is produced as C is less amount. So this is probably because of what? The amount is produced less because the reactant was
higher.
Again, the product will be less.
less يبقى لو less يبقى reactant يكون less برضه.
The reactant will be less. And which reactant should be less? The HCl.
The HCl.
And here he said HCl. So we are okay. So we will look at C. Why C? Because C is more steep, is less steep, is more steep than B, but the amount is less. Take care. This is very confusing for most of the students. They will say B because B is the least steep, and he said lower concentration. I'm confused which one to choose. Mister, I will choose in this one C because the volume is less, so it is lower than A and B. So what about the previous one? Lower temperature. He said lower temperature, but he didn't speak about decreasing the amounts of C. So it's only B. B is higher. He didn't change anything. Right. Let's go for, so this is C. Let's go for, let's make everything here red. So it will be like the red, let's make it black. So it will be like the black curve. And here we'll make it B, so we'll make it red. So it will be like the red curve. Now he is asking about using bigger lumps rather than powdered calcium carbonate, using bigger
less surface area.
So the surface area is less, so the rate of the reaction is
slower.
Using bigger calcium carbonate. Take care, calcium carbonate does not affect the amount of gas produced. Why?
عشان excess.
Because it is excess. So I will just find B again. Why it's B again? Because again, I did not make any change in the volume of the gas produced because I didn't change the limiting reagent.
Yeah.
So it will be again B again. It will be B, right?
B. Oh,
What about the addition of a catalyst?
it makes it steeper عشان بتخلي ال reaction rate أعلى.
ممتاز. So it
Faster.
will be steeper, which means faster rate of reaction because there is a catalyst and we can choose A. So this is curve A. This is the
Okay.
repeated question for 14 and 15 and 16, but let's go back to the basic questions because they are very important. Okay. I'm not sure if you saw the videos with the QRs or not. We just clean them.
بس أنا ما لقيتش ال QR code.
For which one? For yesterday's homework?
Oh.
Come on, yesterday's homework was very easy, wasn't
Oh.
it?
أيوه.
You didn't need the QR code. The answers was there already. So I'll make it only for the difficult questions, okay? Right, let's see this one. Which of the graphs here would have been obtained if you have a leakage of gas during the experiment? So you have leakage of the gas. Let's just close that one. We don't need it anymore.
بس ممكن تبعت لي الأسئلة عشان ما عنديش.
That one, this is the basic questions, right?
Oh.
Okay. But at the time being, I will show it on the
Okay.
screen. Can you see it now? So this is the question 2 is asking, in each of these curves, you will have a leakage of the gas during the experiment. Mr. Leakage, what does it mean leakage? I was making my experiment and then suddenly I figured out that there is no gas coming in the gas syringe. It's zero and it's not changing. So whatever gas I want to measure is not coming, it is zero. So there is only one curve that will be valid. That's curve E.
E.
So what does this mean? Is it higher rate, faster rate? What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. The experiment failed. So the experiment failed. There is no gas produced. There's something wrong, like there's a puncture in the gas syringe or something is broken, okay? So next one is when magnesium ribbon reacts with excess dilute HCl. Now I have the HCl as excess. This is different from the previous one. And the solid is the limiting. The magnesium is the limiting. The total volume of the hydrogen produced was noted every 20 seconds. Only half the magnesium ribbon has been used. Where is the original curve? This is the original curve. C is the original curve. So what happens if you used half the amount of the magnesium ribbon? Is the magnesium ribbon the limiting reagent or the excess reagent?
Limiting. صح؟
Yes, it is the limiting excess. The magnesium is the limiting. So changing the magnesium ribbon amount will change the volume of the gas
product.
Yeah.
تكون
So
دي.
what was, yeah, exactly. And the numbers even is correct. Here is 60 at the original. So it should be half. It will be
30.
30. Why it's half? Because the ratio. If we balance the equation, we'll find the ratio of magnesium to the H2 produced will be half to half. If it is 1 to 1, it will be half to half. Okay. Type. What if I made a warmer excess acid?
بتكون هتكون steeper عشان تكون faster.
هتكون steeper, but steeper and more amount or steeper and the same amount?
Same amount.
Same amount because I didn't change anything in the magnesium. So it is
فهتكون B.
B. Excellent. What about if it is a greater mass of the powdered magnesium?
كده غيرنا الليميتنج فهتعمل برودكت أعلى وهتكون لا هتكون A عشان تكون أعلى.
So why it is steeper?
You put more powdered magnesium.
And why it's steeper? Because it has
زي لسه عشان surface area.
Yes, it was
Okay.
magnesium ribbon and now it is magnesium powder. So the surface area has increased, so the rate of the
Steeper.
reaction is faster, so
Oh.
it is steeper, and greater mass, so the amount is more, so it is not just steeper, it is steeper and higher, so it is A like you said. What was the final volume obtained in experiment C? This is
60.
I can just see it from here. It is
Oh.
60 centimeter cube. The graph below shows the volume of oxygen formed during the decomposition of 50 centimeter cube of hydrogen peroxide solution using 1 gram of catalyst. Again, the reaction is between what and what?
Oxygen.
Okay.
Hydrogen peroxide.
Hydrogen peroxide? No. Here the reaction is between H2O2, one reactant only. It's called a decomposition reaction. So it is called a decomposition reaction. In the decomposition reaction, one reactant breaks down into two other reactants. So I have H2O2 breaks down into what? H2O plus O2.
Two.
So
Okay.
what is the product that I will measure to know that it is the rate is fast or slow? The gas. The gas is the product that I need to measure. That's on the y-axis. Volume oxygen produced in centimeter cube, that's what the gas formed. What about x-axis? It's always the time. Give one possible reason why the point x at 15 seconds is not on the graph line. واحد راسم graph line وبيقول لي البوينت x مش على الجراف line. It's not on the graph line. Why is that? That is just a what? A mistake. That is anomaly in the experiment. That is what an anomaly in the experiment. What does it mean, anomaly? This means that something has happened wrong while doing the experiment. So something has gone wrong there. For some reason, we got a wrong value. This is called an experiment anomaly or experiment error while reading. ممكن أنا غلطت. I made a mistake in reading. I made it while working. What volume of oxygen is collected after 20 seconds?
20. 30.
Okay, of course, here we are just giving random number, but we have to be very accurate with the graph. I will see 20 and move here, it will be 30 centimeter cube, so it's correct. How long does it take to collect 40 centimeter cube of oxygen? Move from here.
30 seconds or 32 seconds.
Here like that, so it will be exactly 32 seconds. I'll just extrapolate the line. So come from here and go down here. That's what you will do. How long? So I have to extrapolate the lines on the graph and make it with the ruler. I cannot just write numbers randomly like that. That's why I have a curve and the graph. I have to be very accurate. Because usually in the exams there is like a range for mistake. It will be sometimes very accurate, like in the numbers that we give us. In some other questions there will be a small range. Okay, welcome back. When the reaction stopped, 1 gram of the catalyst was left. What caused the reaction to stop?
limiting خلص.
Very good. So the limiting reagent, but here there is no limiting reagent. Actually, there is one reactant only, and it decomposes. So I will say that the hydrogen peroxide was, I will either say it's decomposed completely or used up or consumed up. Okay, I just need you to focus in the part that he says when the reaction stopped, 1 gram of catalyst was still left. This is just to confuse you. So it has no relation because we said yesterday catalyst, once you put it in the reaction, it will come out the same. There is no change, but it has nothing to do with the answer, right? It will not affect the amount of the gas produced and it will not affect the amount of oxygen produced. Okay, so let's see the next question.
مستر يعني ايه الإجابة بتاعت دي؟
Like you said, the hydrogen peroxide, the reactant, is used up.
اوكي.
This is what made it finish because the catalyst does not affect the time it just makes it faster. Okay, student added 10 grams of powdered calcium carbonate to acetic acid solution at 60 degrees centigrade. The carbon dioxide was produced and collected. So now the reaction is between what?
calcium carbonate و
acetic
acetic acid.
Which one is in excess?
Acetic acid.
Okay, so you have noticed that we are always focusing very much on this
excess.
Okay. The volume of the gas was measured. Sketch on the same state of axis the shape of the curve you expect to get if the following changes were made. 300 centimeter cube of 4 molar ethanoic acid was used. Label your graph. What is the ethanoic acid? The examiner, for some reason, have decided to say ethanoic instead of acetic, just for confusion, but it's exactly the same thing.
Okay.
So acetic is ethanoic, it is just a different name. Okay, he's saying I used 300 centimeter cube. What was he using at the beginning?
150.
Okay, so this means, Mr. The product will
doubled.
The product will be more?
Oh.
Why it will be more?
Because it has more volume. Well, as more concentration.
But we said that we have to watch out for what? Is this
لا صح هتكون the same عشان دي الأكسس.
Very important. So this is excess. So it has no effect on the product form. It has only one effect. What is the effect? It is more concentrated. So what does more concentrated? Instead of 2 molar, it is 4 molar. So what does this do? It makes it faster. Faster,
deeper.
How can I say deeper? So what is the line?
A.
He's already putting the answers by mistake. So it is already, the graph is A. We can remove the answers and put it in the answer. Just copy it. Okay, so it is curve A. Mister, I can see A here. It is deeper than the original, but it is the same amount produced. Sulfuric acid of the same volume and concentration was used. Label your graph P. Mister, instead of using the acetic acid, I used a sulfuric acid. It is the same volume and the same concentration. This is kind of difficult question, but let's see why. Mister, if I use the same volume and the same concentration, it should be what? It should be
an excess word.
Okay, is it excess? Why it is excess? No difference in the amount, but is it steep or less steep? Mister, it is the same volume and concentration, so it should be not steep, it should be the same curve only. Should be C. I'm sorry, not C. It is the same original curve. He didn't give it a name, but he says this is the only. I can see he gives the answer as B, which means that it is steeper, which means that it is faster rate. Why is that? We will explain actually in the next year, because next year we'll take the difference between acetic acid and ethanoic acid and sulfuric acid. The sulfuric acid is the stronger acid. It will give more amount of hydrogen ions inside the solution, so the hydrogen ion will be more concentrated. مش عايز ألخبطك, but all I need to know is that sulfuric acid concentration, even if it is the same concentration, it will give more hydrogen. Let's try to explain that here. So let's try to explain that here, because this is a little confusing. How come it is the same concentration but different concentration? So how come it is the same concentration and then you say it is more concentrated? That's why it's steeper. Because, Mister, this is the ethanoic acid. It looks like that when we take it next year. It will produce H+ ions because it is acid coming from here. And the sulfuric acid produces H+ also. But because this is what we will call next year stronger acid and this is weaker acid, although they have the same concentration, the amount of H+ produced here is more. So this means that it will not be the same concentration. It means that the sulfuric will be more concentrated. يعني Mr. The original acid is the same concentration, but the H plus will be higher concentration, will be more concentration than here. Then, Mr. The concentration of the two acids is the same, but the amount of H plus produced is different. That's why you will have more concentration H plus. That's why it will be steeper curve. يبقى هقول ايه في الاخر يا مستر؟ what will be the answer at the end? The answer is that will be curve B. I will say this is curve B. Why it will be curve B?
عشان steep.
Why? Because it is more concentrated.
Oh.
And this is B here. The acid was cooled. Label your graph. Of course.
So cool يبقى ال temperature قلت فتكون less steep عشان هتبقى slower.
Excellent. 10 grams of calcium carbonate in the form of small pieces were used. So label your graph. Mr. It is calcium carbonate, and calcium carbonate is excess or limiting?
Limiting.
But is it the same amount or different amount?
Same amount.
So no difference at the end in the amount?
It's bigger pieces.
Bigger pieces. Mr. It says small pieces.
بس راحت من powder ل small pieces.
Excellent job. So it is changed from the powder into the small. So that's good.
It's going to be less steep and less surface area.
That's excellent. So if it is less small pieces, but it was changed from powder, this means you did not decrease the particle size, you increased the particle size. So a catalyst was used. It will be E. Again, it is cheaper, but the same amount. Until now, we did not change the amount at all of the gas. It's in A and B and E and C and D. It's still all the same amount in the like the original curve. What about F?
F, they added more the carbon or calcium carbonate.
So
they added
12 instead of
10.
10.
زودوا الماس بتاع الليميتنج فكده البرودكت هتكون اكتر.
Okay, and it will be steeper or less steep?
Steeper.
Steeper or
لا same thing.
So here only because he's not drawing colors, it's not very clear. But you see this thick line and F. These two lines are the same steepness. Why? Because here it was powdered and here it was powdered. So there is no difference. So in the drawing, you should draw F and the original exactly on the same place. You should not make the F steeper. It should be only bigger amount. Is it wrong, Mr. Drawing? No, it's not accurate drawing. Okay. The next question is the student carried out. We'll try just to get the ideas which are repeated to omit them. At what time does the result appear to be inaccurate? We will go at this point. Do you see this point, which is by itself? 2 minutes, the result is how does the speed of sketch on the grid, the graph you'd expect of experiment was repeated using excess lamp. So we'll keep this one as homework because that one is there is no new ideas in it. When did the reaction finish? What is the purpose of the gas syringe? Of course, the purpose of the gas syringe is to collect the gas, right?
Yeah.
We are what? We are just collecting the amount of the gas.
Gas.
Okay, Mr. But is the gas syringe only used for collection or collection and measuring the volume?
Measuring the volume.
This is what's good about the gas syringe. It doesn't only
collects and measures.
Because we have other methods for collecting gases like upward delivery and downward delivery. It will not be very accurate in measurement like in the gas syringe. Okay. So I think that should be all or most of the questions. No, we still have one more. But I think that will be too much. for this week. I just want to focus on the question from yesterday on the Boltzmann curve, because it might come tomorrow in the MS. The one we talk about, you are moving with the curve to the right. As the temperature increases, it might come the opposite in the exam, but you just have to focus. The one which is bigger at the right side and smaller on the left side, this is higher temperature.
So
You remember
when it moves to the right, higher temperature or the lower?
higher temperature. And when it moves to the left, okay, I have a very nice example to make this idea also clear. I'd like to show it to you. Usually I'd like to give the example is like that. We have a road, and inside this road, there is a bunch of cars running on the road. So you can see three types of cars here. The ones which are very fast, they are always at the maximum speed, let's say 120. The ones which are average, they are always ranging from 900 to 100. And the ones which are keeping the slow speed, they are on 70s and 80s, and they are just taking the right lane and sleeping on it. Okay? So I can make a count. Let's see that most of the people will be here. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars and so on. We are counting the cars. I'm looking at the top, like by a helicopter, like that. Okay, these are the peoples here, and very few people are usually here with the red. And there is some people who will see them at the very slow speed. There are most of the people here slowing down for some kind of reason or going to the exit. So there is always, it's always busy here, right? So it's like you are looking at them from a helicopter from the top of the road. So this is the 3 lanes. How do you put this in a curve? The curve of what, Mr.? The speed is here, and the number of them is here, of cars, which will be on our curve, the particle, number of the particles, and their kinetic energy, their energy is equivalent, right? Speed is like energy, and number of cars like the number of the particles. So put the people which are very fast, they are big number or small number?
Small.
So on the x-axis, they will be just here. They will not be more than that. That's like 100, this is 110, this is 120. I will not make it high. Otherwise, if I put it high, it means that they are big numbers, right? So I'll just put them down here. This is a small number of the cars only. What about the average, the blue ones? They are here. So this is 90, and it is until 99. And it is a bigger number. Can you see the number?
Oh.
This is the Boltzmann, Maxwell-Boltzmann curve. The trademark for explanation, okay? So it's here. What about the people at the slow speed? They are here, let's say 70s until 90.
80. Okay.
90 or 89. So it's a big number of the cars. Actually, this looks like the curve that is a big number. So it's high in the y-axis, right? It looks like the curve which we drew today, yesterday. If we make the curve, it will look a little bit like that. Not exactly the same, but it's like that. Not important.
مش لازم تبدأ من الأوريجن صح؟
We can draw it from the origin here. So it will be like ours. For the people at 0 speed, they are 0. So it will be at origin. Okay, no problem. I don't care about the shape of the curve actually a lot. What I want to give you is the idea of changing the shape of the curve. What happens if you increase the speed? So let's imagine I have an ambulance or a group of ambulances, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. God forbid there is a big accident, and these ambulances are just putting their sirens and they want to speed up. So they will put the sirens, and then suddenly what happens? All of the cars start to speed up. Like the ones on 120, they will become 130, and the 900 and 100 will be 100 and 110, and even the 70 and 80 will start to speed up. They will become 90 and 100. So everybody suddenly become crazy and started to speed up. The sirens are ringing, okay? This is exactly what happens when you do what?
Raise the temperature.
Exactly, excellent. When you raise the temperature, all the particles, their kinetic energy will become higher. They will all speed up.
It's going to move to the right.
what happens? The numbers here will change. So most of the people will move from here to here. So the black will be less now. So in the new curve, the black will be, the new curve will be,
less.
so the curve will come down like that. And the number which moved will go to the blue. So the blue starts to what? To increase its
Increase.
and even the last one, the red will become more.
Increase. Oh.
So the number in the red, like you saw yesterday, you saw him drawing like that, right? The number starts to increase in the red, and the blue increases. And this increase came from what?
Ambulance.
From the black. The only one that decreased is the black, because there is nothing under it. So if we are taking that in math, we call it the area under the curve. You know, have you taken the area under the curve in math? Maybe not yet. But the number of the curve did not change. They just moved from one place into another place. And if you even make it higher, the curve will be even more like that. So if you make it like the green one, it will be like that. It will move from here. Here will be less. Here even bigger, and here bigger. So
bigger.
Like that.
Oh, okay.
So if you move to the right, the curve, this means the temperature is increasing.
Raising. Oh.
I hope you got the idea now. This is called the Maxwell-Boltzmann curve. I'll call it.
فهمتها كويس.
I'll call it the MBZ curve, not the Zaid road curve. Okay. So I hope this covers most of the things for our exam today. I'll just send you the file for the basic questions to have a look at them again. And I will send you also the video because it will contain the explanation. Okay, until the next time. Thank you so much. If there is anything in the questions for tomorrow or for the basic, just tell me.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
شكرا. السلام.